What's going on, people? This is Derek J407 here to give you my thoughts on NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. The fourth year TakeOver is being held from the Barclays Center, possibly the last year, at least for now, since they will not be in Brooklyn for SummerSlam next year, since WrestleMania will be in, New Jersey, but in the New Jersey, New York area in 2019. And if this was the last TakeOver Brooklyn show, they went out with a bang. This was an incredible show. I got the privilege of being there live. I am originally from Brooklyn, so basically all of my family lives there. And I managed to get out there for this show. And I was there in attendance, and I had a lot of fun. Of all the four Brooklyn shows, TakeOver, the last couple of years, I only missed one, and that was last year because I had to be in where I currently live in Columbus, Ohio. I had to be there that weekend for work, but nothing held me back from coming to Brooklyn this year, especially knowing it will probably be the last time they'll have a TakeOver show in Brooklyn for a while. And like I said, great show, great matches up and down the card. Not really a bad match on the show. Some matches, of course, were weaker than others, but a lot of great matches, especially the championship matches. The tag team championship match was excellent. The North American championship match started a little slow, but really picked up and built to a really strong match. Even the women's championship match was really good. And of course, that main event, even though I have a little bit of 50-50 on the finish, but everything up to that point, the emotion and the drama between Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano that we've seen for the past couple of TakeOver shows, it was still in full effect in that match, so I definitely enjoyed it overall. So let's go ahead and start. I didn't see the opening matches, aka the matches that they tape for TV this week. I usually don't really get there in time to see those. I did get there in time to see there was a graphic up on the Tron that was promoting the women's pay-per-view in October, that Evolution show, and they showed a graphic for a match between Alexa Bliss and Trish Stratus, and there was no championship on Alexa Bliss's shoulder, so that immediately got people speculating as to what that could mean. And then just not too long ago, after the show finished, WWE.com announced that the match is official. Trish Stratus and Alexa Bliss will be taking place at Evolution. Of course, they're promoting it right now as Raw Women's Champion versus Trish Stratus, but I don't believe Alexa Bliss will be walking into that match as the Women's Champion. And of course, Twitter, who have just been on an anti-Alexa Bliss movement for the last long while. They, of course, hate this idea. I see no problem with it. People were throwing out names like Charlotte and Becky or Sasha, who should face Trish, but I feel like all of them were going to be in other matches equally, well, maybe not equally big, but big matches in their own right. So I think Alexa Bliss is probably the perfect person for Trish to get in there with, just like she's the perfect person to get in the ring with Ronda tomorrow night at SummerSlam, or tonight, depending on when you listen to this. So that was just my thoughts on that. I have no problem with the match. Am I hyped for it? Not really, but it would be good to see Trish back in the ring and to get an easy win over Alexa Bliss. So on to the actual TakeOver show. The show kicked off with the NXT Tag Team Championships, the Undisputed Era being represented by Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, taking on Mustache Mountain, Tyler Bate, and Trent Seven. This was the third match in this series. The first match was at Royal Albert Hall at that UK Championship Tournament show where Mustache Mountain got the win and won the titles. And then they had another match on NXT television a few weeks after that got 5 stars from the very controversial Dave Meltzer. Excellent match there where the Mustache Mountain, they dropped the titles back to the Undisputed Era when Tyler Bate threw in the towel for Trent Seven. So we had the rubber match here, the third and I guess final match between these two teams. And much like their previous two matches, this one was fantastic. In my opinion, it was probably better than those other two matches. I think each match has gotten better as they've gone along. The crowd, of course, was really into the Undisputed Era. These guys are insanely over with the crowd. They love them. And, I'm a big fan of them too. But Mustache Mountain, Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, especially Tyler Bate, is really beloved as well. So you had a split crowd there. But some really impressive stuff in this match. Of course, Roddy and O'Reilly, they do incredible stuff all the time. But Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, they both got a chance to shine. Trent Seven, he had plenty of time to go wild on both of them, just throwing Strong and O'Reilly at different points. Tyler Bate, of course, is incredible. Dude's barely into his 20s, and he's just an amazing performer. At one point, he had the Whirly Dervish swing going on at the same time. I think he had O'Reilly on his shoulders and then was swinging Strong. It barely lasted, but he was able to do it at one point. At one point, there was dueling submissions from Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. Roddy had the stronghold on Trent Seven, while the Kyle O'Reilly had the Dragon Sleeper on Bate, and Bate managed to escape by lifting O'Reilly in a powerbomb position and basically throwing him into Roderick Strong to break all the submissions. So that was a really cool spot. Later on, we had a spot that was very reminiscent of the second match. This time it was Tyler Bate who was in peril. He was locked in a heel hook from Kyle O'Reilly in the middle of the ring. Trent Seven tried to get in the ring. The referee kept backing him up. He went out to grab the white towel. He was about to throw it, but then the crowd, they were booing, they were chanting no and all that kind of stuff. So he threw it into the crowd, and Bate managed to pull himself over to tag in Trent Seven. As we get to the end of the match, Bate and Seven are about to get the win. They're about to beat, I think, O'Reilly, but then out of nowhere, Roderick Strong comes in, knees Bate right in the face, knees him right out of the ring. Both men target Trent Seven's leg, and then they hit him with the high-low to get the win. So the Undisputed Era are still the tag team champions, pretty much like I figured. And also like I figured, after the match, the War Raiders, Ray Rowe and Hanson, they came out and attacked them. There was this one really cool move where Rowe launched O'Reilly up in the air, high up in the air, and Hanson caught him and laid him out with a power slam, and that was just really cool. So the War Raiders are the clear next challengers for the tag team titles. I expect them to be the ones to challenge O'Reilly and Strong in November at the TakeOver show right before Survivor Series. I think they announced already that that's going to be TakeOver War Games. So unless they put them in a War Games match, I assume they'll get a tag team championship match. I assume War Raiders will get a tag team title match very soon, and they'll probably be the ones to finally take the titles away from the Undisputed Era permanently, since they're losing gold left and right now, but we'll get to that later. Up next, we had a match between EC3 and the Velveteen Dream. The Dream is just insanely over everywhere he goes, especially in front of this crowd. EC3, he got a pretty good reaction, but it paled in comparison to the reaction that the Velveteen Dream got on the show. EC3 probably in there with anyone else would have gotten a great reaction, but against the Velveteen Dream, and Dream came out wearing tights. Now, from my seats, I couldn't really tell what was on them, but then I looked on Twitter and people were, quoting what was written on there and showing pictures of it off their network feeds and all that kind of stuff, and it said, "Call me up, Vince." So, a not so subtle way of talking to the old man, telling him to call him up to the main roster. And you know what? I hope Vince went blind and was unable to see Velveteen Dream's tights, because I have no desire of ever seeing Dream get called up to the main roster. He has a very great character. He plays his character up very well. And he's just an extremely talented person. And I do not want to see Vince McMahon ruin that character. He's ruined so many other NXT call-ups so far. Some have slipped through and have been pretty good. Alexa Bliss, I mentioned earlier. I would throw Kevin Owens in there, even though he's been a complete bitch in the feud with Braun Strowman recently. He's had a good amount of success on the main roster, but you look at other people like Finn Balor, Bobby Roode, Authors of Pain, Asuka. It's a very long list. So I fear for Mr. Dream. Even people who I'm not even that big a fan of, like No Way Jose. When's the last time you've seen him on TV? So I fear. But as for the match was okay. This is probably the weakest match on the show. I thought the crowd would be a lot more split and would be a lot more into it, but they were really behind Velveteen Dream. In fact, after a while, EC3 started to get booed a little bit whenever he showed real strong offense over the Dream. But like I said, it was a pretty basic match. At one point, EC3 did get busted open. I don't remember what happened to cause it, but he did get busted open there. But in the end, both men were on the apron. Now, the Velveteen Dream, he hit his Dream Valley Driver, that Death Valley Driver move. He hit it in the ring earlier, but only got a 2 count. So then they were both on the outside on the ring apron, the hardest part of the ring. I'm sure the commentators were reminding you, like they say all the time. They were on the apron, and Dream hit that Valley Driver again on the apron, and then he went up to the top rope, hit him with the Purple Rainmaker elbow right there on the apron, got him back in the ring, pinned him 1, 2, 3, and the Velveteen Dream gets a much needed victory on a TakeOver show. He doesn't get too many of those, so good to see him pick up a big win. And like I said, the crowd loved it. So not the best match, but really it was pretty good. And of course, always good to see the Velveteen Dream. And there were rumors this week about plans to call up Dream to the main roster. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But hopefully we can keep him in NXT a little bit longer. He's only like 20 or something like that. I think, and he like 21 or something like that. I don't know. Maybe 22 or 23, something like that. He's like really young, so there should be no rush to call him up to the main roster. But oh well. They showed Matt Riddle in the crowd, the King of Bros, Matt Riddle. It's been rumored for weeks, probably at least a month now, that Matt Riddle has signed a developmental deal with WWE, and I think everyone figured he'd show up in the crowd in Brooklyn, and that's exactly what happened. He was right there. A bro chant started, so you're looking at the new face of NXT right there. I expect him to eventually win the NXT Championship and kind of carry the brand on his back at some point, maybe by WrestleMania weekend next year, and if not by then probably by Brooklyn next year. But I expect him to be in that spot at some point. Whether he's the one to beat Tommaso Ciampa, I don't know, but or maybe he could be the one who attacked Aleister Black. This is big whodunit mystery for who attacked Aleister Black in that parking lot. I think it could be him. My money's on Cassius Ohno. I think I've seen a lot of people predict him. I'm going with Cassius Ohno too, as far as that's concerned. But yeah, good to see Matt Riddle. Up next, one of the matches that I was looking forward to the most on this show, Adam Cole versus Ricochet for the NXT North American Championship. The story going into this match was pretty basic. Adam Cole telling Ricochet, you're not special. You're good, probably great, but you're not special, but I am special. And I will prove that in Brooklyn, and Ricochet's job here was to prove that he is special, and even more so special than Adam Cole. So they went out there. Like I said, the match started off a little slow. There was one cool spot right in the beginning where they were doing this back and forth sequence, Irish whips to the ropes and all that kind of stuff. And usually there's a spot where, one guy would leapfrog over the other. So there was one part where Adam Cole was going for a leapfrog over Ricochet, but Ricochet caught him with a midair drop kick. which was really cool. There was some other mid-air moves that happened later on that were really even better, though. So, yeah, the match kind of, slowed down a little bit, but then once it picked back up, thanks to Ricochet and his crazy dives, I think what really got things going was, Ricochet was on the outside on their apron, and he went for a springboard dive, and he was in position to where Adam Cole was about to catch him with a super kick in midair, but when he came down, he caught Cole's leg and kind of stared at him and hit him with a nasty forearm shot right to the face, and then he went for a springboard moonsault, and when he came off the rope and he, dove over, did his backwards motion, Cole then hit him with a super kick, which was a very brilliant, innovative spot. I don't, really see too much of that, in matches, so I thought that was really cool. Cole, he, had Ricochet down. This is towards the end of the match here. Ricochet, they both were hitting each other with a bunch of moves, and Ricochet was down. So Cole's in the corner. Ricochet has his back turned to him. He's on his knees, and Cole's about to go for that running knee to the back of the head, but then Ricochet was kind of playing possum a little bit, and he ended up hitting him with the reverse Hurricane Rana. He goes up to the top rope, about to hit his 630 move, but Adam Cole rolls out of the ring over by the ring apron. He's kind of laughing and mocking Ricochet, and then Ricochet, just in one fluid motion, he jumps over the top rope and Hurricane Rana's Adam Cole off of the ring apron onto the floor, in just a beautiful sequence. My words don't do it justice. This was awesome. He got him back in the ring, hit him with the 630, and Ricochet captures the North American Championship, his first piece of championship gold here in WWE. I assume it won't be his last. So yeah, I pretty much figured Ricochet would probably get the win on this show, simply because I didn't think any other baby faces were going to win. That was clearly wrong in the match that followed this one. But, yeah, this was a great match. Probably the third best on the show. I'd say the main event was probably the best, and maybe the tag team match was second, or maybe this one is like 2B and the tag team match is 2A, because I don't know, these two matches involving Undisputed Era were really neck and neck for me. The main event was probably definitely the best match on the entire show, obviously, but this was a really good match, and yeah, good for Ricochet winning the North American Championship. I love how people just automatically assume Adam Cole's going to the main roster because he lost here. People in my section were even saying that, like, oh, I guess Cole will probably debut on Raw or SmackDown this week. It's like, one, he should not be debuting anywhere without the Undisputed Era. Two, I just love how when you automatically lose, you're automatically assumed to be debuting on the main roster. So I guess that's how it works now. But good stuff from both of these guys. I assume there's going to be a rematch, and I'm all for it when it happens. Up next, Shayna Baszler, Kairi Sane for the NXT Women's Championship. Speaking of rematches, a rematch from the Mae Young Classic Finals last year. Kairi Sane won that match against Shayna Baszler, and then they came back on NXT television. Shayna Baszler beat Kairi Sane a few months ago. Since then, she's captured the championship. And now heading into this match, the whole story was that Kairi Sane doesn't have the killer edge that Shayna Baszler has to win. So that's why she's incapable of beating Shayna Baszler with the championship on the line. So I love that there was a story behind this match. I love that there was stories behind every match on this card. That actually works. You don't just have matches for the sake of having matches. They actually have stories behind them. So right off the bat, Shayna Baszler targets Kairi Sane's knee. Just some really sick moves with the knee. She had her in like a knee submission hold, and the way Kairi's knee was being contorted and twisted and all that kind of stuff, it was making people cringe, you know. There was this one woman, she was with her boyfriend or whatever, and she was right in front of me, and she kind of like turned away And I kind of looked down at her and kind of laughed, and she was kind of laughing at me because she just couldn't watch it. It was pretty cringeworthy, the way she bent the leg and then kind of bent the ankle too. Kind of cringing now just thinking about it, but stuff like that kind of slowed down Kairi Sane, but she did start to come back whenever she was trying to do her little march movement. Like she marches across the ring or something like that. She could only do it with one leg, so I thought that was pretty cool. But Kairi Sane, she did start to show some life in her. She hit her with a spear, and then went for that elbow, that beautiful pitch perfect elbow off the top. She hit it on Baszler's back, and then when she went back up for another one, Baszler rolled out of the ring, and Kairi followed her. She dove off the top rope onto her on the outside, got her back in the ring, hit her with the elbow normally, right on her front, but it was only good for a 2 count. Kairi went for this submission hold. It was, I guess she calls it the anchor. I was seeing people refer to it as, and it got reversed into the Karafuda clutch from Shayna Baszler. I thought it was over right there. Just like I thought it was over at that elbow drop, I thought it was over here. But Kairi managed to get to the ropes. She did eventually lock in that anchor hold, that submission, but Shayna too got to the ropes. So the finish, Kairi the submission was escaped, so she goes up to the top rope, comes down for the elbow, but Shayna gets her legs up, so she kind of kicks her away. She locks her in the Karafuda clutch, so I'm thinking, okay, this one's over. She's about to pass out or tap out. It's about to be over. And as soon as I said that, she kind of rolled through it and rolled Shayna Baszler up and got the 3 count. She got the 1, 2, 3, and Kairi Sane wins the NXT Women's Championship. That shocked me. I did not see Shayna Baszler losing the championship this soon. I know it feels weird to say this soon, seeing how she won it. I think she won it back in March, but no, that's actually pretty soon. I did not expect her to lose it this early. I figured she could probably hold it till WrestleMania weekend next year, but nah, they let Kairi Sane get the big win, and I can't even say it was a huge win because she kind of lucked into it, so I assume that'll be the story heading into their rematch, that she got the fluke win over Shayna Baszler here, because that's basically what it was. She was locked in a submission hold and just got lucky and rolled through and got the roll-up win. But still a great moment. Kairi was really emotional. She was crying. Like, it seemed legit. It was kind of like, all right, you're trying to get her to hold the championship up and all that kind of stuff, and kind of took her a while. And it's like, if she was just acting, it's like, all right, come on, hurry up. But it seemed legit. So she was an emotional wreck, but I was happy for her. I'm a big Kairi Sane fan. I was happy that she got signed. I was happy to see she won the Mae Young Classic. And yeah, I'm happy to see her win the championship. I just did not expect Shayna Baszler to lose it this soon. I didn't expect Kairi Sane to be the person to beat Shayna Baszler for that title. So going forward, I expect a rematch at that Evolution show between these two. And I guess Kairi Sane could win there. And then maybe at the next TakeOver show, she could face Bianca Belair. I think that would be a great match. And then you can build up to a match between Kairi Sane and the newly signed Io Shirai. She's in the Mae Young Classic. She's my prediction to win, or at least come to the finals of the tournament. Probably her and like a Deonna Purrazzo or something like that. I could see them. Those, I don't know what the bracket looks like, but maybe those two could be in the finals. And I could see Io Shirai probably winning. But either way, I could see her versus Kairi Sane at WrestleMania weekend next year. Throw in Asuka and make it a triple threat. Actually, no, you could do that on the Evolution show. Do Asuka versus Kairi Sane if you wanted to. I'm not saying you have to, but if you wanted to do it, you could. But good stuff here from the women. Not a fantastic match. It was more in-ring psychology with the knee, and usually that can be boring if done poorly, if it's not convincing. But the way Shayna was working over Kairi's legs here, it was very convincing. So I was very impressed. And like I said, happy for Kairi Sane winning the Women's Championship. Now, the main event. Last man standing for the NXT Championship, Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano. Originally a triple threat with Aleister Black, but like I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned the actual legit reason he wasn't in this match, due to a groin injury. He'll be out till October, but they did the whole mystery attacker in the parking lot gimmick. Hopefully it gets resolved and isn't left unresolved like the one with Hideo Itami. But this match, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, of course, it was an excellent match. This is the 4th TakeOver main event in a row for Johnny Gargano, the 3rd in a row for him and Ciampa, and the 3rd year in a row he wrestles at a Brooklyn show. So Johnny Gargano is on point here. Right before the ring announcer could announce Ciampa's name, Gargano goes to attack and the match is on. And from there, just a bunch of wild shit happens in this match. Gargano exposed the concrete on the floor. They go over by the announce tables and stuff like that. Ciampa gets thrown over the American announce table, the English announce table, I should say. And both men are standing on top of it. And Ciampa delivers the Celtic Cross off of the American announce table through the Spanish announce table right beside it. So already off to an insane start. Ciampa tried to put Gargano in a sleeper. Well, not tried, he did put him in a sleeper multiple times. At one point he had him in the sleeper while on the top rope, and Gargano was kind of hanging from the sleeper, but it was not enough to keep him down. He lifted Ciampa up and hit him with the lawn dart, and he threw him into the other side of the ring, but there was a chair already set up there, so he kind of threw him right into the chair, which was very brutal. There was at one point Gargano was on the outside. He stacked 2 tables on top of each other, but not the traditional way where it's like one on top of the other. The table on top of the already set up table was kind of upside down, so the legs were pointed up. So both of them just kind of doubled on top of one another to make it, I guess, the impact hurt more, and it did when it was used later. There was one point that Ciampa hit him with the 3 Project Ciampas and sat in a chair while the referee counted, and when Gargano managed to get up, he super kicked Ciampa right out of the chair, so I thought that was cool. They go to the outside. Gargano misses a cannonball off of the apron, and Ciampa hits him with the angel wings on steel steps, so he's down. And then Ciampa gets back in the ring, exposes the ring cover, so you know that's going to get used. Let's see, what else? There was a bunch of crazy stuff that happened in this match. Oh, there was a crazy part out on the other side of the ring, over by the cameraman and the ring bell people and all that kind of stuff. Gargano was going for a super kick on Ciampa, but Ciampa moved and Gargano accidentally super kicked, I think it was a cameraman, and he's kind of laid out over there. Ciampa kind of hit him and he's laid out right there, and Ciampa delivers a running knee but has a chair right up against his knee, so that he knees the chair into Gargano's face and kind of collides into the security wall. And with Gargano down, he stacks the cameraman, a bunch of other equipment, and pieces of the wall all on top of Gargano, making it almost impossible for him to escape. But he did. I thought that was cool. They get back over into the ring. Ciampa ended up getting super kicked off the apron and crashed through that stacked table over there, but he managed to get back up to his feet with the use of a crutch, which I thought was brilliant. And we get closer to the finish here. Ciampa's kind of retreating up the ramp, and Gargano's kind of stalking him up there, kicks the crutch from underneath them. They're fighting on the stage. At one point, Gargano locks him in the Gargano escape on the stage, and he ends up handcuffing Tommaso Ciampa. There were handcuffs that were brought out, because remember at the last TakeOver show there were handcuffs. Oh yeah, I remember. They mimicked a spot from the TakeOver Chicago show. This time Gargano DDT'd Ciampa from the ropes onto the exposed wood in the ring. So they also tried to mimic it by using handcuffs, and Gargano ended up handcuffing Ciampa to a piece of the, I guess the equipment or the stage or whatever, over back by the arena. And he ended up just giving a bunch of super kicks and just beating his ass down. Apparently Ciampa was saying I'm sorry and apologizing and all that kind of stuff. You could kind of hear it. I was close to there, not entirely close, but around close enough to hear it. And plus I kind of rewatched it a little bit on my phone in the car back to the hotel. And Gargano was setting up to do that running knee, the running knee combo that he and Ciampa used to hit when they were a tag team. He was hesitating. All the while, Ciampa's down, he's handcuffed, so he's kind of on his knees. He's technically down. The referee is counting, and I think he even got up to like 7 or 8, and Gargano just said fuck it and pretty much went right for the knee. The referee was at like 8, I think, and Gargano goes for the knee. He connects, but in doing so, he kind of plunges himself off of, I guess they're on the stage, but he kind of plunged himself off the stage and collided into a bunch of equipment, kind of fucked his knee up. And so the referee is counting. Gargano fucked his knee up, so he can't stand, but Ciampa is still on part of the stage, so he manages to kind of slip off and his feet hit the ground right as the referee counts to 10, and Johnny Gargano fails again against a handcuffed Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa is the last man standing, and he retains the NXT Championship. The finish, not my favorite finish in the world. It makes Johnny Gargano look quite stupid, in my opinion. You had the match won. You saw what happened the last time you tried to fuck around and do extra stuff to Ciampa back in Chicago. It cost you the match. You ended up losing to a handcuffed man. So his rage, I know it plays a part of the story. His rage still got the better of him, and he put all his force into that knee, despite the fact that the referee was already counting, and he was like 2 seconds away from winning the championship. He just couldn't help himself. He went for that knee, and it ended up costing him. He injured. Apparently, they were selling a knee injury. The referees and officials and stuff were checking on him. I kind of left after that, so I don't know if he got stretched out or not, or helped out of the building. I saw him, getting checked out and all that kind of stuff, while Ciampa was in the background holding up the championship and all that stuff. So I assume this is probably to write Gargano's character off of TV. Maybe so this feud can take a break, because, hey, I love these matches, but maybe the people might be getting a little sick of it. I don't think so. The fans were still into it. They were still hot for Gargano, and they were still heated at Ciampa, so the people still love it, and these guys still find a way to do innovative shit in their matches. But I think it's probably, if you want to keep continuing with this feud, you should probably hold off on it a little bit. And I guess maybe a knee injury will write Gargano off of TV for a little while to let Ciampa move on to something else. And maybe Gargano should probably move on to something else too, because he clearly can't get the job done. But yeah, despite the finish, and it is hard to have sympathy. I sympathize with Gargano, but I mean, you had the match won again, and you fucked it up for yourself. You played yourself, as the great DJ Khaled would tell you. But now, it's still good storytelling, and it was still a great match. Up and down the card, a lot of great matches. SummerSlam has its work cut out for it tomorrow night. I will be at SummerSlam, just like I was at TakeOver tonight. I will be at SummerSlam tomorrow night, or tonight, again, depending on when you listen to this. So I'm looking forward to it, but it's going to be a long-ass show. This show was almost 3 hours, but it flew by pretty quickly. So I was impressed by this show. SummerSlam, you have a lot to live up to, buddy. So, another great showing from the NXT crew, another great match, a great main event, despite the so-so finish, but still a great match, still great storytelling all up and down the card. And great stuff from me. So that's it. I will talk to all of you when I talk about SummerSlam. So till then, check you later.